What's going on, guys? After seeing several smaller leaks of the upcoming S23 series from Samsung, Slash Leaks has effectively blown the lid off of the whole thing by posting several actual photos of the S23, the S23 Plus, and the S23 Ultra. In this video, we're going to quickly take a look at the photos that we now have and talk about some of the specs that have been rumored, as well as expected. The Slash Leaks link will be in the description down below. Say that 3 times fast if you want. Now, the first thing you're probably going to notice is that the S23 Ultra looks very much the same as the S22 Ultra. However, the Plus and the Standard do look quite a bit different in the sense that they no longer have that large camera bump there on the side. Each individual camera is now its own bump. This is how it looked before, which I thought was fine, but I actually do like this look a little bit better. It reminds me of one of these more recent Zen phones. It also reminds me a bit of the LG Velvet, but a little bit different than that. And I believe LG had another phone that was in the works. I think the codename was maybe Rainbow or something like that. That was going to look very similar to this as well. So I don't actually hate this design. I think it looks kind of clean and kind of nice, but obviously this is all very subjective, in your opinion will matter the most. Beyond that change of the camera module appearance, though, apparently not much more is expected to change. The devices are going to be another iterative update from Samsung, kind of like what we saw with the Fold line over the last couple of iterations. Small steps forward, nothing too major. If you were worried, however, though, that the S23 Ultra would stop having that S Pen silo, we know that the S22 Ultra is basically just a Galaxy Note by another name. Well, that is going to continue because we can see in this photo that the S Pen silo is still there. So that is going to continue to be the primary differentiating factor. That, and I guess the square body and the better camera setup for the S23 line, the Ultra version. That's what's going to kind of set it apart. Now, we are expecting once again for February to be the time of launch. With the S22 line, it was February. Probably going to see the same thing here with this line. So we don't have a ton of time to have to wait to see more details of this line. Obviously, it is December now, so just a couple of months away. I do also want to point out that some of the bigger changes coming are perhaps going to be under the hood. We are jumping up to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 system on a chip, and that will be the thing running these phones globally. Apparently, no Exynos this time around. So everyone's going to get the exact same system on a chip. According to the reporting that I've seen, that is pretty interesting. It's really odd because the Exynos had really made a lot of progress lately, and a lot of people felt like, you know, from some people I've spoken to, the Exynos might have actually had some advantages, performance-wise even, over the Snapdragon. But I'm not, going to dive into that too deep because this is anecdotal and I've not really looked into it super deeply. But at any rate, Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 globally for this line. Larger batteries in the S23 and the S23 Plus by just a small amount, not a hugely larger battery, but the charging will be remaining the same across all three, 25-watt wire charging. I do wish they push that up just a hair higher than 25 watts when some companies are well over 100 watts now, but at the end of the day, 25 watts is a decent speed and it's safe for the battery long term. It's not going to cause degradation of that battery in the same way that perhaps some of these higher wattages might begin to cause. We've also seen word that the S23 Ultra is going to take that 108 megapixel sensor that's in the 22 and replace it with a 200 megapixel sensor. Now, of course, when you go to something that is that high resolution in such a small space, the size of the individual pixels is going to be really small. So they're going to probably be pixel bending this, not probably, they're definitely going to be pixel bending this thing absolutely into oblivion to output at probably 12 and a half megapixel output. What advantages do you have by going to something that is that high resolution? Well, I guess we're going to have to wait to find out, because conventional wisdom would say, well, maybe they'll use it for digital zoom, but they've already got a periscope telephoto. So I don't really know what the purpose of this is going to be, how they're going to leverage it to improve the photographic abilities of this device. Maybe autofocus can be a little bit faster if the sensor is also quite large, but all this does remain to be seen. Now, I know a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to say, well, Shane, this is kind of boring. And in a lot of ways, I do actually agree with you. I've gone on record many times as saying, if it doesn't fold, doesn't have two screens, I'm really just not that interested anymore, and that is probably going to be for me the case here, as well as I probably wait much more excitedly for the Z Fold 5 when that gets announced, or something like the Pixel Fold, etc., etc. But at any rate, there you go. That is what the S23 line is going to look like. Link in the description to the source for this. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button on your way, and I'll see you on the next one. Until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.